now, if I write something like this, sum bracket, inside bracket, I write anything. That sum is called a function. What is a function? A very basic understanding from a for a non-programming background is somebody has written a piece of code for you. Okay, some instructions for you. Somebody has written instructions to perform addition operations. Okay, what you have to do is you just have to give the numbers to perform the addition. That is the meaning of a function. Okay, so if I highlight this, okay, this is called a function. Okay, that means somebody has already done the work for writing a set of instructions, computer instructions that will perform the addition. What you have to do is you have to give the column for which you have to perform addition. If I pass the column such as sales, what will the sum function return? The sum function will return the addition result of all the values inside the sum column. Now, do you understand what is a function? Now, next thing is called fields. Okay. What is a field? Basically, a field is a column. A column is called a field. Okay. Nothing new here. Now, the next thing is called operators. What is the meaning of operators? If addition is an operation, the symbol which denotes that operation is called an operator. Did you understand what I said right now? That if you're performing addition operation, then plus is the operator. If you're performing subtraction, then minus is the operator. If you're performing multiplication, then the asterisk symbol on your keyboard is your operator. If you're performing division, then the slash symbol is your operator. That is the meaning of operator. And what is the difference between operator and operation? Did you understand this? Are these three things clear to you guys? Now, then there is something called as literal expressions. Now, literal expressions are basically constant values. Okay. So these things such as 1.3567 or 27 are now here a little bit of background of why they are called literals. So I'll give you a very simple example and not going too much into the depth of the background. If you have some, so let's say in the terms of mathematics, there is a variable, this is a variable x, okay, and it has a certain value, let us say 12. So this value 12 is stored in this variable called x, okay. Now this x is called a variable, okay, and inside a variable we pass a value. That value is a constant value, and that is called a literal, okay, a literal or a constant, and this is called a variable. Now, in the context of a programming background, the value of the variable can change. So x can have different values at different points of time. Okay. But the main thing is what is stored inside a variable. You can store anything. Okay. You can store, I hope you remember something called as string. In the first Tableau lecture, we realized something called as data types in Tableau. Okay. There itself, we realized that there can be different values or different categories of values which can be stored in a column in Tableau. Okay. So similarly, a variable can have any kind of value in Tableau. Those values separately, if you just write them separately, are called as literal expressions or constants. Okay. In the context of Tableau, they're referred to as literal expressions. Is this clear? So now, if I go to the next slide, okay. Now, there is something called as parameters. Now, of course, we have not done parameters, so I will not go into parameters. Comments mean, okay, what is the meaning of comments? Let's say you are writing something, okay. Let's say you are, have you guys worked on Google Docs? So basically, comments mean that you have done some work, okay, some programming work, some computer related work, or even in the context of a document, okay, and you shared it with one of your teammates. Now that teammate doesn't have the access to edit the document, but they have the access to provide comments, and on the basis of comments you can understand what are the changes they are expecting. You got my point? So similarly, comments are something which help you understand the expressions. If you have written some expression like this, an operator like this, okay, something like that, inside this sum function you have written an expression, and if you are giving it to someone else and if you want to explain them that what it is, then what you can do is, if you see here, sum of sales by sum of profit. This is basically an expression. So this part is basically called an expression. Okay, only this part. And I'm wanting to explain what the meaning of this is. So if somebody goes to the calculated field, they can understand what is the meaning of this. How, you see there is a double slash, right? There is a double slash. After this double slash or double slash, whatever we are writing, that is considered as a comment. The usage of comment will not be considered as an expression. Comment will only be there to increase the understandability or the interpretation of the expression that the Tableau developer has used. So if somebody wants to understand what is the meaning of this or who has done this work, then you can write, okay, slash John's work, slash Meenal's work. We are calculating some sales to profit ratio for each of the products, something like that. So that is my comment. Okay, so that is the understanding of this. Now going to the next component. Now why are we going through all of this is, let me just try to show you something very simple calculated field, then I think you'll get more context of this. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll try to create a simple calculated field. Okay, so I'll go to analysis and create calculated field. Okay, and I will write sample calculation. Okay, 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 I have not given any thing in this. First thing that I want to do is, let's say on the customer name, on the customer name, I want to create a set. Okay, and what I want to do is, or here also I think you have the option to create a calculated field. Let me see. Yeah, calculated field is there, but I will not use this one. Okay, so if I go to create, I'll create a set. In the set, I will just say top. What is the top value I need? I need the top 10 value on the basis of uh, sales, average sales. Okay, and I'll say okay. I created a customer name set. Now, if I just drag and drop this customer name and I drag and drop the sales component, okay, and if I take this set into the filter, I get my top 10 customers on the basis of average sales. Okay, this is showing sum of sales, but the highlight, the grouping is done based on the average sales. Now, let's say I have this. Okay, and I will edit it. I'll go to edit. In the edit, I write some if. See here, if is an expression. Okay, if customer name set, then if customer name set, then one, else zero, end. Okay, I'll say apply. Okay, now I create a new sheet. Okay, in this new sheet, if I just take customer names and if I take, where is the generated column? Sample calculation. Okay, and if I just second, yeah, see here what they have done. they have just highlighted in which category which column lies. Okay, if I just can, let's say, or I'll do one thing, I will keep it like this, but in the sample calculation I will include a measure of count. Okay, now one second. So no, this is actually not making any sense. But if you can see this from this column, okay, it's basically giving me the number of customers, like each customer, whether they're lying in the category 0 or category 1. That means whether they are a part of the top 10 customer set or not a part of the top 10 customer set. Okay. So that is the meaning of a calculated field. Okay, that means I wanted to categorize it in entirely my entire customer base in this data set. I wanted to categorize it only on the basis of two things: either they are in top 10 average sales or they are not in top 10 average sales, and then highlight it in a tabular format. Okay, that is the meaning and usefulness of a set. Now this example may or may not be relevant particularly, but this was just an example for demonstration how you can create a calculated field. And what is the strength of a calculated field is anything that you want which is not available in your data and which Tableau cannot perform directly. Okay, the operations on your data which Tableau cannot perform directly, that is where the usefulness of calculated field comes. You can create any calculated field with any form of expression. You want to highlight the sales to profit ratio for each subcategory of product, you can do that. You can highlight average sales to average profit, you can do that. You want to find out the difference between profit and sales for each subcategory of product. That means profit sales minus profit value for each subcategory of product, you can do that also. So that is the meaning of calculated field. Is this demonstration clear? I'm just trying to give a demonstration where if any customer lies in this 0 category. What is the meaning of 0 category? Category 0 means they are a part of the set. What is my set? Top customer name set. What is the function of the customer name set? The function of the customer name set is to basically show whether the person is there in the top 10 average sales performance. Okay, that is first thing. That is the meaning of the set. Try to understand this step by step. That is the meaning of the set. Okay, so my set basically categorizes in two things: top 10 customer set. Now if I want to create a column which can directly highlight whether a customer is there in the set or not, then what I have done is I have created a calculated field. Okay, the strength of the calculated field is I wrote an expression. Okay, if you see here, I have a calculated field called simple calculation. Inside my simple calculation, there is an expression. Okay, now the meaning of this expression is if customer name set, then 1, else 0. That means if my customer name will be in the top 10 set, then highlight it with a 1. Otherwise, highlight it with a 0. Okay. This is a column that I created, a new, specially new column for this data set. Now, when I dragged and dropped my customer names and my sample calculation here, what happened is, what is the meaning of this ABC? ABC means that it's basically a highlight factor in Tableau. If you're working with customer names or strings, you remember what are strings? A sequence of characters is called a string. Okay, here each of my customer name is string. Okay, so basically if you see here, these out of all these customers, I have taken this customer bill only as 1. Why? Because he's there in top 10. Now the meaning of ABC is that means that particular customer name is there in the top 10 set. So how does Tableau highlight it? By just writing a sequence of characters ABC. So basically, first thing we need to understand is what is functions and how do functions work. Functions basically are the main component of a calculation and can be used for a variety of different purposes. Functions are colored blue in Tableau calculations. Every function in Tableau requires a particular syntax. For instance, the sum function requires the following syntax. Okay, sum of expression. Now inside, see how do you write exactly a function? Sum. After that, you need to give a pair of brackets. Okay, and after the brackets, inside the square brackets, you write the field. Basically, inside the function, you write the field name, and field name should also include the pair of square brackets, and inside the brackets, you give the specific name. Okay. Similarly, there is something called as percentile function. Percentile function means you need the expression. The expression is the column and number. Which percentile value you need? You need the 5th percentile, 10th percentile, 25th percentile, something like that. Okay. Now, this is what we did just now, that how to create a calculated field using a function. Select analysis, create calculated field. In the calculation editor that opens, click the triangle icon. Okay. And a list of function appears for you to browse. When you select a function from the list, the section on the far right updates with information about that function's required syntax and a description as well as more with example. Okay. If you see here, if this is my calculated field, I go here, I can click on any function and you will get the syntax of the function. Okay. Let's say find function. So find function will basically take a string and take a substring and take the start value. So what happens is it returns the position of a substring within a string. Now, to understand a substring within a string means you are trying to find out the position of a part of a string. So if you are taking your name, let's say Meenal's full name, and you want to find out which is the starting position of the Meenal substring in her full name, then you can give the full name, the substring that you want, and the start location, and you will get the value of the position. Okay. If the substring isn't found, the start argument is if the substring isn't found, then they show it as 0. Okay. Now the return value will be 0. If the start argument is defined, any instances of substring that appear before that start position are ignored. The first character in the string is positioned as position 1. So this is basically the result of this function is, if I go for the find function, the result of the function is a position or location. And how do you do the locationing? Basically, you start mapping each character in the string with a position. So first character will be called 1, second will be 2, third will be 3 till the end of the string. And how then you have to find out the starting position of the substring. That is the meaning of the find function. So similarly, there are other functions. So what happens is you basically click on the function. You get to if you click on the function, then you can get the description of the function with the syntax and a simple answer. If you can see here, somebody has used find. The original string is calculation and the substring is ALCU. So where does ALCU start? ALCU starts from A. A is at the second position. So you are getting the answer as 2. Okay. So this is the example of a simple function.